I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Jonathan Luna. Jonathan Luna was an assistant United States attorney in Baltimore whose 2003 death remains one of Maryland's most enduring legal mysteries. The mystery of his death. On December 4th, 2003, Jonathan Luna's body was discovered face down in a creek in rural Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, about 70 miles from his office. He had been stabbed 36 times with his own pocket knife, though the official cause of death was determined to be freshwater drowning. Did y'all see my face? In late 2025, after a years-long legal battle by journalists, a Pennsylvania judge unsealed the official autopsy report, revealing new details about the case. Now, the unsealed records confirmed that local Lancaster County coroners officially ruled the death a homicide. Y'all saw my face again? Contradicting theories often floated by federal investigators. No. Everything should contradict that. Homicide. Who gonna stab themselves 36 fucking times? The report detailed the extent of his injuries, including 23 stab wounds to the neck and defensive wounds on his hands, which his family and local authorities argue make suicide highly unlikely. No! That shouldn't even have came up. Suicide should have never been. Let me keep going. I don't want to get too excited. Department of Justice probe. A separate inspector general report found credible evidence of serious misconduct regarding how the FBI handled the internal investigation into the case. The case remains mired in controversy due to differing views between agencies. I hope the fucking different views is not because they're trying to figure out whether it was a suicide or a homicide. I really hope that's not what the differing views are. That's taken them all this time to try to solve. I really hope it's not. I really hope. So, this is not funny. It's really not. Sometimes you just got to laugh to keep from crying. Also, shouts out to a subscriber and viewer of mine who suggested this case. Womb Prism. I appreciate you. I appreciate all my subscribers and viewers for suggesting content. And as you see, I do have y'all on my itinerary. All of these cases I still have to do. So I'm going in order, and I do have your suggestions for those of you that have suggested, and I haven't got to your case yet. Just know it's on the way. So shouts out to all of you. Okay, now let's get back to this, because I can already see this is giving me a headache already. And y'all are not giving me the headache. It's just law enforcement. The whole system, America, period, gives me a headache. All right, so homicide, local police coroners points to the number of wounds, defensive injuries, and the presence of the second blood type and partial fingerprints at the scene. Well, I hope they did point to all of them. Suicide. So, I don't even want to read what they have under suicide. I really don't. Some federal sources at that, not state sources, federal sources. Federals is the big honchos, right? The state is the small check and the federal is the big check, right? It's not funny. So federal is the big people, right? These are the big people that's talking about suicide. Them big goofy ass motherfuckers talking about suicide of a person that's been stabbed 36 fucking times. I don't know. Y'all gotta bear with me. Some federal sources have suggested Luna may have staged a kidnapping that went wrong due to personal and financial stresses, though this remains heavily disputed. I'm glad I'm done with reading that. Let's pull charts. I've had time to spend with the energy of Jonathan Luna. I researched a lot of his photos. You know, me as an oracle, photos, I'm big on photos. I can tune into photos. Definitely. Photos give me information. Okay, and it adds to the energy that I use to pull cards with, as well as information on the case. So, what happened to Jonathan Luna? I'm going to pull 5 cards from the Astro Oracle. Y'all know this my OG. It's going to tell the whole story. What happened? What happened to you, Jonathan Luna? This deck was also pre-shuffled while I was meditating and in the energy of Jonathan Luna before I logged on. So I'm just shuffling it again so that way you can see raw and uncut. Jonathan Luna, what happened to you? Born October 21st, 1965. You was found dead December 4th, 2003. Tell us what happened to you, Jonathan Luna. Tell me and my spirit team, what happened to you? And those who may be watching, your loved ones. Hopefully this reading reaches the people it needs to reach. That's going to help solve this case. Y'all please like this reading. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button. When you like it, it generates. It generates all over the world. All you got to do is like it. Make this reading generate. Make all my readings generate. Because somebody's going to know somebody that knows somebody that can help solve this case. Solve these cases from these readings. I am a high-ranking Astro Oracle Psychic. Y'all are about to witness a high-ranking Astro Oracle investigation. If you've never witnessed a high-ranking Astro Oracle Psychic, keep watching. What happened to you, Jonathan Luna? What happened to you December 4th, 2003? What happened to you in 5 cards? Let me cut the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first card that came out was a work-related card, success and the workforce. This case was definitely work-related. The 6th house is Virgo's house. That is the house of work, the work ethic, daily routine, health, wellness. This is a success card. So something definitely succeeded in his workplace. Now keep in mind, he was an attorney. So the case that he was working on, he was an assistant United States attorney in Baltimore. Now, I also read during another AI mode, because you know, if you keep typing in the name, if you refresh it and you type in Jonathan Luna again and push AI mode, all the same information just from different angles will pop up. Okay? So there was a case that he was working on. Here it goes. Luna vanished from the Baltimore Federal Courthouse late on December 3rd, 2003, while working on a plea deal for a heroin distribution case. His body was found the next morning in a creek in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, approximately 70 miles away. So you see, that didn't show up in the first AI, but that's all right because I was going to bring it up anyway. And the reason why is because I know for a fact that this was work related, because I also saw that in the charts. And I'm going to point out to you where and why I saw that and why this sixth house is very prominent. All right. So there was definitely a success in his case. He was definitely succeeding. There's a fifth house ally. The fifth house is the house of romance, children, celebrations. This is Leo's house. There is an ally here. Okay? The ally is made in Leo energy, is made in the image of Leo energy. Meaning this could be a celebration. Okay? This could be children. This could be somebody he had a child with. Okay? This could also be romance. This can be a love affair, playful love affair, not a serious marital love affair, but a playful love affair. Because this is what the fifth house is all about. Somebody was on his side. Okay? This could also mean somebody that he was fooling around with that was a part of this case. Or there could have been some sexual encounters that would help promote the success of this work-related issue. So we're going to see what's going on in the fifth house and where Leo is at and how Leo plays out in these charts. This success right here is a fourth house success. Family success. Of course, if his case was succeeding, that means more money. Okay? Promotion, better family situation, better living conditions. Okay? That means the family gets promoted too. I don't know if he had a family or not, but this fourth house success represents home and family. So I'm definitely going to be looking at what's in the fourth house because it's going to elaborate on this success. And I'm going to be looking at where Cancer is because Cancer is going to also elaborate on this success. There is a ninth house success. The ninth house is the house of higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The ninth house is also the house of foreigners. It's also the house of religion. This is also the house of long distance travels. This is also the house of colleges, institutions. Okay? There was a success involving everything that I just named in some form or fashion involving one of those areas that I just named. We're going to look at what's going on in the ninth house to elaborate on this. Because I'm quite sure he was in college. I'm quite sure he went to college. I mean, he's a United States attorney. Of course, you need a college education. Assistant United States attorney. So there's definitely some ninth house activity going on and successful activity too. I feel like he was doing very well and he had an enemy because this is why the enemy came out. The enemy came out in the enemy's house. Now, there are two enemy houses. There's the seventh house. This is the enemy that's raw, uncut, and direct in your face. This is the enemy that wants you to know they're your enemy. There is another kind of enemy that we have. That is the 12th house enemy. That is the enemy behind our backs. That's the enemy that smiles in your face. This enemy right here does not smile in your face. This seventh house enemy, this is Libra's house. Libra is the energy of partnerships, whether they are good partnerships or bad partnerships. How you interact and counteract with somebody one-on-one. How you face off with somebody one-on-one. So, Jonathan Luna had a direct enemy. And we're going to elaborate on this direct enemy. Jonathan Luna was born October 21st, 1965. On that day, the sun was in Libra, the energy of the enemy, and the moon was in Virgo. When you put a Virgo moon in Libra's house, which is the seventh house where this enemy is at, Pisces comes first. So the enemy reigns supreme. Now, I'm not sure if Jonathan Luna was the enemy to somebody that took his life, or whether the person that took his life obviously was an enemy. The reason why the enemy rules this entire case is because the sun was in Libra in Jonathan Luna's birth energy. And Libra rules the seventh house where this enemy is at. And look what kind of enemy this is. A Virgo enemy. Not limited to a Virgo person, but Virgo represents the energy of work, service, health, daily routine, employment, the workforce. Virgo rules the sixth house, where this other success card came out at. There was an enemy in Jonathan Luna's energy, a direct enemy. This was a co-worker. Virgo represents the co-worker. Look where Libra is at. Libra is in Jonathan's house of death. This lets me know that his death started with the significant other, who we know is the enemy. The raw and uncut direct enemy that approached him from behind his back, because Pisces represents the hidden enemy. Now, this could be Jonathan being a hidden enemy, but also the person who took him out was also his enemy. I'm not saying that Jonathan is guilty, and I'm not also saying that Jonathan is innocent. We're going to read the cards, and I'm going to read the information as it comes out. I'm going to read everything that no one can make up right in front of your face, and I'm going to show you so you can see it for yourself. Jonathan had a direct enemy in his workplace. Now, if you look in the sixth house, look what you see. Leo. Remember, I told you Leo energy rules the fifth house, the ally. This could have also been an enemy he was fucking around with. Now, in the fifth house, because Leo represents romance, Leo represents celebration, Leo represents children as well, and pleasures. There was an event that I feel like Jonathan attended that night, and shit went left. In the fifth house, I see Cancer. Cancer represents the home, family, and the mother. This event was at somebody's house. He was at somebody's house. I don't know if Jonathan had kids. I'm not sure. But if he did, this could have been with his baby's mother. But this was definitely somebody that was in a local environment. Now, the moon rules Cancer. Now, the moon in Jonathan's energy, which this is Jonathan's birth chart, was in Virgo. It was in the co-worker. That was his direct enemy. You cannot make this up, right? So now we just elaborated on this ally. This was somebody who was also on his side. Let's find out what's going on. Let's pull the death chart. Because an ally is the opposite of an enemy. Now, you have an enemy card that came out in the seventh house, but you also have an ally in the fifth house. Now, this could have been the same person. It's just that this person was on your side. Y'all fucking and cutting and drinking and enjoying life. That's your ally. That's your cut buddy at work. Y'all get off of work and go do what y'all do. But in reality, this is a direct enemy. I'm seeing sleeping with the enemy. I'm going to name it just like that, sleeping with the enemy. Now, Jonathan was found dead December 4th, 2003. On that day, the sun was in Sagittarius and the moon was in Aries. And when you put an Aries moon in Sagittarius's house, which is the ninth house, look what comes first. Leo, this fifth house ally. Leo comes first. Leo is the co-worker he was fucking around with. Right here. Somebody in his place of work that he had a romantic experience with after work. And I don't think that's the first time or the first event. Now, let's get down to the bottom of what was lurking behind the scenes of this love affair. Look in the 12th house, which everything is hiding. If you ever want to know what's hiding, look in a person's 12th house. Look in the 12th house of the chart of whatever situation, circumstance, or event. In the 12th house, look what you see. Cancer. Guess where this Cancer came from? This is the fifth house ally that was in Jonathan's fifth house. So the fifth house came first the day Jonathan was found dead. This is how we know this has a lot to do with a very close-knit personal relationship, love affair with this individual. Could be the mother of his child because Cancer represents the mother and fifth house represents children. Now, I'm not sure if Jonathan has children or not. But if he doesn't have children, this is a very close person to Jonathan. It could even be his own family member. Because Cancer rules the home and family. It rules the fourth house. And the fourth house success did come out. It did come out. Let's look at what's going on in the fourth house. In Jonathan's fourth house, we see Gemini. Gemini is the sibling. I don't know if Jonathan had siblings, but like I told you, I'm reading everything as it comes out, just the way it comes out, and I'm showing you. A fourth house success. Gemini represents travel in the family. The fourth house represents home and family. That's Cancer's house. There was a celebration that involved a family member as well. Now, this particular celebration was in the local environment. This was in that area where he may have been found dead. He was leaving a party. He went to some type of a celebration. It could have been a work celebration. His work family. And the reason why I say that is because the moon rules Cancer. And the moon was in Virgo in Jonathan's energy. Not that day in Jonathan's energy, but that day the moon was in Aries, the day he was found dead. And Aries is in Jonathan's second house of money. This was a financial success that somebody was jealous of. Now, if you look in the second house, the day it happened, look what you see. Work, Virgo. The same partner that's responsible, that plays a role in his death. You can't make this up. This was about his financial success at work because this was all work related. This was definitely work related. Now, in the seventh house, because we know the seventh house enemy and Jonathan's chart was his co-worker. Now, the seventh house, that's where it started. Where it ended was in Aquarius. This was another individual. Okay? There's two people now. We have a co-worker and we have another individual. Aquarius always represents the group. Someone from the group, someone from the gang, someone from the sorority, someone from the fraternity. Now, what type of group or gang member was this? Let's look in to see where Aquarius was, where it came from in Jonathan's energy. The 12th house, the house of what's hiding. Now, the 12th house is also the house of intoxication, drugs, alcoholism. Make sure y'all are utilizing my tutorial. The reason why I brought this up is because it's the same reason why I had to let y'all know that there was a case. Luna vanished from the Baltimore Federal Courthouse late on December 3rd, 2003, while working on a plea deal for a heroin distribution case. The plea deal is right here in the second house, which was work related. The second house of money, Aries, right? The heroin distribution case is a 12th house case. Drugs. That is, he was taken out by one of the members of this whole heroin distribution case. I'm showing you, raw and uncut. You can't make this up. Now, this could have been a family member of one of the people that was involved in this heroin distribution case that Jonathan had a secret love affair with. But it was all designed to take Jonathan out. Foul play. That's what I feel like happened. Leo comes first. That romantic love affair. The sun rules Leo. Where was the sun at that day? The sun was in Sagittarius. And where's Sagittarius at? Right here in the 5th house, Leo's house. That ally. This is a foreign ally. This Sagittarius rules the 9th house. What do you see in the 9th house? Aries. You can't make this up. You see how the dots connect? You cannot make this up. Because look where Aries came from. It came from that plea deal situation in the 2nd house. Now, let's follow Aries. Mars rules Aries. Where was Mars at in Jonathan's energy, and where was Mars that day? Mars in Jonathan's energy, you see for yourself, is in Sagittarius, the ally. He was killed by one of the group members or gang members that was a part of this heroin distribution. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. Mars, the day Jonathan was found dead, was in Pisces. And Pisces rules the 12th house. Pisces comes first in Jonathan's energy. He was attacked. Mars is always the assassin. Jonathan was directly attacked by the enemy. Somebody in his place of work has something to do with it. Somebody from his place of work, and also somebody that was a part of what they were working on, the case he was working on about the heroin distribution. You know, when you're dealing with these top-notch drug cases, you're tapping into gang energies, popular gang energies that been around for years, legacies, the inheritance of gang activity. That is a serious energy that pervades the planet. Drugs, heroin, that is one of the most highest paid energies. Drug trafficking, human trafficking. So yeah, I see a co-worker, and I also see somebody that was a part of the heroin distribution. That was the case that Jonathan was working on. Success in the ninth house. I'm starting to believe, because if you look in the ninth house, look what you see: Aries. And then in Jonathan's ninth house, you see Scorpio, the energy of death, right? I'm starting to believe, and Pluto rules Scorpio. Pluto is the energy of, is the planet that rules death. It rules the eighth house where this partner killed him. Pluto that day was in Sagittarius, the ally, in the fifth house. Where does Sagittarius come from? The 10th house. The 10th house is the house of courts, the law enforcement. Make sure y'all utilize my tutorials so you don't think I'm just talking shit. The 10th house is the house of the law, the courts. They were in the middle of a court case. This foreign ally represented foul play in Jonathan's energy. You cannot make this up. Pluto that day was in Sagittarius, and Jonathan's Pluto was in Virgo, the co-worker. You can't make this up. Pisces, which is where Mars was, because Mars lets us know that Jonathan got attacked. Pisces is the energy of the attack, and that attack killed him. Look, right there in the house of death, you see Pisces. That's what killed him. That is what killed him. That is who stabbed him 36 fucking times. Pisces also represents the water. Neptune is the planet that rules Pisces. Neptune that day was in Aquarius, the gang member. Yeah. In the sixth house, I see Capricorn. This means that this was a promotion. This could also mean the boss. This could be Jonathan's boss, but this could also mean a promotion. I feel like Jonathan was going to move up. He was definitely succeeding at his work. He was doing a good job, whatever he was doing. Whether he was lying or whether he was trying to cover up shit, whatever Jonathan was doing in that case, he was doing a good fucking job. He was succeeding. There are 3 successes that came out. Jonathan wasn't failing at anything. So when you have a lot of success like that, you know there's an enemy lurking somewhere. The more the success, the more direct the enemy is. Because it gets to a point where the enemy can't hide no more. You have those enemies. They can't hide how they really feel about you. This was a direct confrontation with Jonathan. But I feel like they was at an event. They was at an event, a celebration, and shit went left. And I believe that either he was catching a ride with somebody or somebody caught a ride with him. And that's how it all started. That is how it all, well, no, it been started during the case, but that's how it ended. It was all foul play. It was all a setup. Jonathan Luna was set up. Yeah, that's what happened. We don't need to look for his body because we already know where his body is. We conducted this reading to see what really happened. And now we know what really happened. That's my reading on Jonathan Luna. And I'm sticking to it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button so that way we could generate this reading so it can get to the people who it needs to get to. Y'all be blessed. Rest in peace to Jonathan Luna.